I know what I want. And so, watching shows that are not gonna help get me to where I wanna be, right? Or doing things or listening to people that aren't gonna get me to where I wanna be, it's a waste of time. Like, I have no idea what's going on in most other universes. Like, I don't know if it's football season or soccer season or what season it is. You know what I mean? Or what's the top rated show or the most, top 10 records, or I have no clue. And I don't really care because it doesn't help me get to where I want to be, right? But if I did care about that, well, then I think a vast majority of my day would probably be engrossed in that stuff. Like, well, what's this person doing? What's that person doing? And there comes the flooding of the mind of all this stuff. That to me is unnecessary. Who cares? Sometimes I find it so funny that people are so obsessed with all this other stuff. And I'm like, but dude, you're not getting paid at all from that. Like, at all. Like, there's zero benefit coming to you if this person got some award or this person got voted blah or their show was, who cares? Yeah. Who cares? I mean, unless you got a personal relationship with the person, then that's different. But these people don't know who you are. They're not thinking about you. And I think society has done a very good job of getting people distracted. And I think that's all it is, man. It's a huge distraction. It's just a big ass fucking game. And it's just a distraction from what's really going on in life. And it's a distraction from people that haven't figured out what they want. So, hey, you don't know what you want? Why don't you go follow this person? And maybe you want what they want because you haven't figured out what you want. That's what most people are doing. They don't even know it. But they're so miserable with their life, right, that they're now following this person or thing or whatever, and they're like, oh, I wish my life was like them. Dude, that's a shitty place to be. All because you haven't figured out what it is that you want. I don't want anybody else's life. I want my own. Like, you couldn't give me $80 billion trillion to trade places with somebody else. Like, I wouldn't do it. Most people can't say that because they're like, oh, but I would want that life. That life looks great on Instagram or whatever, right? You don't know how miserable or not that person is. You have no clue. But it's easier for people to pick another life and say, that's what I would like to emulate, as opposed to figuring out themselves and saying, hey, this is what I want to do. So for the people that have done that and they put in the work, they're happy. And again, it has nothing to do with money. It's not about making $1 million a year. It's just about, what do you want, right? And if what you want is what you want, then you go after what you want. And that cuts out the noise right there because you're not paying attention to everybody else. I don't pay attention to anybody else. I really don't. I mean, I hear about stuff and I find out about things at times and I'm like, okay, cool. But I'm not out there looking for, okay, what are they doing and all that stuff. And I think that's a pretty big distraction. I mean, it's very esoteric, right? It's like Paulo Coelho's book, right? The Alchemist, right? This great book. And I think that's kind of the magic of manifesting, right? You're playing a game. Whether you know it or not, you're playing a game. And you have to decide, are you playing the game to win or are you playing the game for the game to beat you, right? And at some point, the game, the universe is gonna challenge you. It's gonna challenge you, it's gonna ask you. It's gonna ask you by giving you opposition, do you really want this? Are you sure? Are you really willing to go through the things that you have to go through? Like this whole new problem, this whole new obstacle, right? And at some point, if you're able to persist through it, with the right attitude, eventually you're telling the game, you're telling the universe that, hey, I want it, and I'm not gonna stop until I get it. So somebody's gotta give up or give in, right? Somebody's gotta give in and say, oh, okay, cool, here you go. Here it is. And I've seen that happen hundreds of times in my life where I wanted something so bad and I just kept persisting and persisting and persisting. And eventually it was like, boom, here you go. And eventually you keep doing so much of that, it's like a muscle, you just know. And sometimes it comes easily, sometimes it comes very easy. But there's other times that things happen where it's just like a pushback. And that's when I know, like, oh, okay, cool, I'm on the right track.